You can see how that is just shaking under there. Having to stare at that every day for the past 4 years has literally sent me. It's fucking annoying. Hi, Artemis. Are you ready to talk to people about our next renovation project? I think that's a yes. Welcome to our next project, and it is our bedroom at last. We have lived here for almost 4 years now, and this is one of the last remaining rooms that we have not renovated yet, as I'm sure you can tell. Now, I want to do things a little bit differently this time. If you've already followed me for a while, you'll see that I do loads of TikToks, loads of reels, loads of pickies, all the good stuff. But this time, I want to take you into the finer details. So I'm going to do a bit more vlogging, a bit more chatting, just sharing all the details of the whole process, because there is a lot going on. Now, as you can see, we are quite blessed with size in this bedroom. It's a really spacious room. The Victorians knew how to build houses. They knew how to give well-proportioned rooms, and they gave us just that in this bedroom, for which I'm eternally grateful. And they gave us lots of lovely features like a fireplace, which kind of get in the way, if I'm honest, but in a room this size, you can kind of afford to have those fancy little pretty things that make the room feel a bit more grand. We were also blessed with some original coving, which I'm sure you can see up there, around the chimney breast and the whole room. One thing I cannot wait to get rid of, the one thing I'm sure you can tell I cannot wait to get rid of, is the fucking ceiling fan. That is a monstrosity, okay? In the UK, ceiling fans are useless. It's always cold. Maybe for like a few days in the summer, that's nice, but like no one has those anymore. It's not the 80s. We're getting rid of her as soon as I can. Having to stare at that every day for the past 4 years has literally sent me. So she's going. Of course, I'll be putting up a spectacular, over-the-top, ridiculous ceiling light up there. We have lived in this house for 4 years, renovating it pretty much all DIY. It has been like a living skip. We've lived pretty much on a building site for 4 years. Half the house is kind of done, half the house is unfinished. We had no roof on the house at one point. If you missed that journey, is that what we're going to call it? A journey? Probably just one of the most horrible times in my life. There's loads of videos about that, so please go back and watch it. We literally had no roof and pigeons took up home at the top of our house. So that was great. So after living through all of that, I want to treat us to like a really luxurious bedroom, like something a bit fancy, something a bit schmancy. I think we deserve it after all the hard graft we put in. But before I get into all the plans and like what's going to go where, what colours, what schemes we're going for, I want to show you some of the amazing hidden Victorian features in this room that are kind of still intact. Some of them not so well, but a lot of them are there and they're actually fascinating. So let's have a look. So I'm standing on the side of the room that has the door on it. So as you come in, this is what the room is set up like. Big bed here, which fits nicely on that wall. And then here's where the Victorian features come in. We've got an original, Victorian fireplace surround. The original fireplace has been gutted like so many people did in like the mid-century. So a lot of like 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s fireplaces replaced the beautiful, stunning cast iron fireplace that would have been there, which is so sad to me. But hey, everything goes out of fashion, you know. I get it. I probably would have ripped it out in the 50s as well. And then we have this built-in cupboard, which I actually am going to get rid of because it's not in great nick. It's covered in gloss, as you can see. You can see it's just cracked to shit there. It's not been well looked after, and it's quite impractical. Like inside, I won't even open it to show you, but it's just the skinniest little cupboard that you can fit about 3 things in. But one feature I am going to keep is this finger plate. I'm pretty sure this is an original because I'm pretty sure the whole cupboard is an original. It looks very of the Victorian era. And these finger plates were put in for like such an extra reason. It was to stop people's like grubby hands touching the wood of your door, the nice pine or whatever it would have been. So that's a lovely little bit of flair, which I want to strip off. As you can see, it's been glossed to high hell. Oh, boomers did us dirty with the decor, didn't they? But I'm looking forward to stripping that off. And actually, on the other side of the room, there's also another one on the main door, which is exactly the same. So I'm pretty sure they're both original. And there's like an original lock here, which has been, my God, just completely abused with paint and this plastic handle. Honestly, I can't even. Disgusting. But yeah, I'm looking forward to stripping those off and trying to make it look nice again. Might keep the original door, but I can't tell you how wonky it is. Wait, let me open the door. you can't really tell, but the top of this is wonky, so the door doesn't close. That gives you an idea of how wonky the frame is. My God, look at that. She's on the piss, so she needs some help. So back to the original features, along with the fireplace, the cupboard, the coving, is actually the wallpaper. So the wallpaper, I think, is original. We stripped off wallpaper downstairs, and underneath all the layers, it looked like it was from like the 70s, the 50s, maybe even a bit earlier, was wallpaper exactly like this, and there was nothing else underneath that. So that makes me think it's either the original wallpaper that was in the house to start with, or very, very old. So probably early 1900s, maybe even 1890s when the house was built. Who knows? But anyway, I don't think I'm going to keep this. It's just not my vibe, as I'm sure you can tell. I don't really do florals, not really for me. It's a bit too pretty. So maybe in someone else's house, not ours. Huh? What do you think? So I'm probably going to get rid of that. Strip it all off. That's going to be fun. It's really textured. It's really thick. I think it's been painted over with this pink colour. I don't think that's the original colour. So we'll find out what's underneath this at some point. So that's going to go. And one more original feature, which is actually fascinating, is, I can't even show you this little boy here. So this just looks like a stubby little coat hook or something in the wall here, but we think it's actually a gas pipe that would have been for a little gas lamp that would have been on the wall here. Obviously, when this house was built in the 1890s, electricity at home was not a thing. It was only like the 30s when people started to get wired-in electricity in their homes. So this little gas lamp would have been here to light up this room for many, many, many years before electricity even thought about coming in. So yeah, that is a fascinating little feature in the wall there. We have actually just hung pictures on it and stuff in the past before we had these drawers here. It's kind of practical, but we're going to have to look at that and see if we need to get it capped off or anything. I'm pretty sure it's probably not still connected. There has not been a gas lamp there for a long time, but obviously we need to be careful. So we're going to have to investigate that when we do the room. Something though that is an original feature, but not a good one, is lath and plaster. Our house is built on lath and plaster. I've got videos about what lath and plaster is. It's like an old-fashioned way in which walls were built prior to like the plasterboard and that we know nowadays. And this whole wall here, which has been graced with this very tasteful feather wallpaper, this whole wall is built from lath and plaster, which means she's crumbly. You can't even really see it, I don't think, but it's just a mess. I'm going to try and show you how bumpy it is from the side because it is not smooth. And I know as soon as that paper starts to come off, that wall is coming down with it. So this is just like a bit of the wall. And you can see how that is just shaking under there. That is not going to survive me peeling off this wallpaper. I think even now, if I just do that, you can see how soft the wall is and how easily it crumbles. So yeah, this is going to be fun. So this whole wall is probably going to have to come down. And we did do this downstairs with a lath and plaster wall and managed to save the coving. So we're hoping for the same in here. But obviously these walls are all solid brick. So they do not need knocking down. Thank the Lord. And actually outside of the room, so that is our spare room, which we're doing at the same time. You can see how these are other wires from other renovations that we haven't yet completed. But this is the side of that same wall. Oh my God. But this is the side of that same wall. You can just see how unstable it is and how crumbly the plaster is. So yeah, it's got to go. So the wall on this side in our spare room, which we're also going to be renovating at the same time, and this room in here, this wall, she's going to be coming down. So with that in mind, let's talk about plans for this room. Now, as you can see, we've been living with a very basic setup for the past 4 years. We've got the same bed that we had in our old house, no headboard. We're just leaning up against that hideous wallpaper every day, which isn't good. We've got no storage in here. So as you can see, my wardrobe, or both our wardrobes, has just been a cheap rack I bought from Habitat when we moved in, thinking it would be a temporary solution because we get wardrobes as soon as we moved in. We never did. We just live like this. That's our shoe rack. The shoes, they just live on the floor. Just there's nowhere else to put them. There's no other storage in here apart from this little cupboard, which I'm going to dare to open now, actually. The handle fell off. And this is just where like I shove my handbags in, and they're all hanging on hangers, and they're all on this little shelf. It's just no good, that cupboard. So that's going to go. So we're going to have a sort of better shoe storage cupboard here that's probably going to come out a little bit from the wall. I don't want it to come out too far because the bed is going to sort of remain in the position that it is. And as you can see, there's not massive amounts of space there between me getting out of bed and the cupboard starting. So we're going to keep the cupboard quite slim, but just make a good cupboard full of shelves that shoes and bags and stuff can go on. Here is going to be my wardrobe. Don't know what we're going to have yet. I'm thinking some sort of like IKEA Pax hack or something, because it needs to be quite a tall wardrobe. We've got lovely tall ceilings. We're very blessed with those. So we want to make the most of that to get maximum storage top to bottom. So I don't have to have anything in any drawers or anything else throughout the room. We currently have these vintage drawers, which we got like in our last house ages ago. They were like a gift from a charity shop for 50 quid from my in-laws, which was lovely. But we're still using them just as like our pants and socks and knickers drawer and tush and shush drawers. But I don't want this here. I want the foot of the bed to be like a big open space. So I'm going to try and get big wardrobes here and on this side. So all the stuff that lives in there can be packed away. So this is just like dancing, activities, space, do whatever you want space, because I want to do something that's quite cunty and quite like rich woman, which is have like a velvet ottoman at the bottom of the bed that I can just like sit on and like just put my shoes on of a morning, put my socks on and just feel like I'm in my luxury lane, you know. So to have that at the end of the bed, want to get rid of the drawers. So all the stuff that's in there will go in the wardrobes. So lots of storage is needed. Same on the other side. This is my partner's stuff. He needs the same in terms of wardrobe space, storage, shoes, everything. So no more Habitat racks, actual solid built-in or fake built-in wardrobes. I do love like an IKEA Pax hack. I've been looking at a lot of those. I feel really out of my depth with them, but I'm, you know, needs must. She's on a budget. And then next to that, we're probably going to have some sort of sideboard, because I love having this one here. This is one we had in our old house that I got from like someone who passed away. Her family were having a clear out, and this is like a genuine 60s, 70s, mid-century cabinet, and it was about 100 quid at the time, which was a bargain because these are so expensive now. So I'm probably going to have a small sideboard here, probably not in the mid-century style because it doesn't really work with the Victorian vibe of the room, but something similar, which is useful for putting stuff on top of, as well as like pretty plants and whatnot. So yeah, just as much storage as possible we can get in here. But then I do want a wall mirror. We have a wall mirror here, which I love. It's super handy to be able to like look at yourself and what you're wearing every day. So I don't know where that's going to go. Not quite sure. One massive dilemma that me and my partner have been arguing about is the door and which way it should open. So help me with this. I personally think the door opening this way into the room is a nightmare because it hits the bedside table. It cuts off this space for like getting into bed and stuff. It just basically makes this space behind the door a dead space that you can't do anything with. And it's just for the door to like hit when it opens. It's fucking annoying, right? Because then it means that the bed has to be further over that way to compensate for the door, which means I'm closer to that cupboard, which means I have less space. So I think the best solution would be to have the door open the other way. I can't really demonstrate it. Like that. So the door hits this wall where the mirror is. But my partner, and rightly so, he sleeps on this side of the bed and said he doesn't want to just be like staring out the door. Imagine it opened the opposite way to that. He doesn't want me staring out of the door every night in bed. We keep it ajar for the cats because this is their bedroom too, isn't it? Yeah. So we're currently having that door dilemma. Wish us luck. Don't know what we're going to do with that. And then of course the bed, the big king size bed is going to stay where it is. That is the best and only wall it can go against in this room. It's perfectly placed. We have lots of space at the foot of the bed, not so much either side, but we can live with that. We can have lovely bedside tables. What we also want is what we lack in this house is wall lights either side of the bed with switches for said lights either side of the bed. So we don't have to get out of bed to turn lights on and off. Same for the main light, switches side of the bed so we can turn that on and off while we're in bed. that would be stunning. And I've been looking at very nice fancy beds with big sexy headboards, because that's what I want after living 4 years with this bloody setup. Just whacking your head against a crumbling lath and plaster wall every morning. No, thank you. And one other thing we definitely want to do is sort out the window situation. So we do need new windows. We're hoping to get those in the next few months. And then these curtains. So these are the ones the old girl who lived here before had. And I can see why. They're really good at blackout. And that's literally the only pro I can say for them. Like, the curtain track itself is a fucking mess. They're so bulky. They're just like so big. So they take up loads of space on both the window and on the wall. So they make it feel really dark in here when actually the windows are really quite big. And this is a really lovely light room. So what we're going to do on both of them, hopefully, is get white plantation shutters for that like fancy look, because I love a shutter. And then either side just have some like pretty floor length hanging curtains that are absolutely never going to be used. They're just for decoration. They're just to look and feel fancy. And they'll frame the windows beautifully too, and just add a little zhuzh, so it's not just plain shutters there, but the shutters are what we'll close and open when we want to let light in and out. Now, as for the colour scheme, the vibe we're going for, I'm going to do a whole nother video on that, because I'm still waiting for some samples and bits to arrive that I want to show you in the video. So I'm not going to give away too much just yet, but just know this back wall, I think obviously once it's rebuilt, it's going to be wallpapered. I want something sort of like statement and ridiculously ornate and over the top behind the bed to make it look really fancy. And then the rest of the room probably going to colour drench. At the moment we're looking at like olive green. We haven't used that colour in the house anywhere else, and we bloody love it, both of us. So as this room is a nice light room, we were thinking we can go for like not a dark colour, but a darker leaning colour to make it feel really luxurious and rich and opulent. So look out for my follow-up video about all the design and the little bits and bobs we're going to put in this room, what it's going to look like at the end. I'm going to be showing you mood balls, colours, wallpaper samples, the lot. And one thing I forgot to mention actually was the fireplace. We are going to probably rip this out. The surround is original, but obviously the original insert that would have been there has been ripped out. So we are probably going to take the whole surround out, because it's made of stone, and not like pretty stone. It's like ugly concrete. Yeah, you can hear that. It's solid as fuck. And I really want to put something pretty back in there, like a cast iron fireplace that's very in keeping with the time and the era of what would have been there before. So to do that, probably going to have to take all of this out to put that in. I'm trying on Facebook Marketplace and eBay to find like an original cast iron fireplace from a Victorian house to put in there. They are so expensive. So I'm hoping to get one on the cheap, on the sly, from someone chucking one out or renovating their house and they don't want it. So if I can get one, I'm going to put that in with a beautiful surround and probably paint it all the same colour as the wall. I love colour drenching. I'm obsessed with it. So it'll make the fireplace really pop, but not make the surround stand out too much. I would also love to know, if this was your room, what you would do with it. Do you think we've got the layout right? Do you think the bed is in the right place? Do you think the wardrobes are in the right place? Let me know. I'm really open to discussion about this, because it's complete guesswork. I'm going in completely blind and just doing what I think could work, but any suggestions are always welcome. And please follow along for the whole ride of this massive renovation, which is not only this room, but next door and the hallway that joins both rooms too. So I'm basically doing 3 rooms at once. So please join me on this renovation journey. You can find me here on YouTube, obviously, and you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as well, at Sharn's House. I'm going to be showing you the full process of all of these rooms being renovated from start to finish. I hope you enjoy it.